Hello everyone, and welcome to Sabre Virtual Demo, our brief videos explaining different features of Business Central and related products. In this episode, we're going to look at inventory and items.
So here we have a sample item card for a bicycle, pretty typical sample item that you find in a lot of ERP databases. And we can put a picture of the item on the item card. We can define attributes, and I'll show you that in a second with another item that has attributes. We can create a sales forecast for the item. And as a matter of fact, with some of the AI analytics, we can have the system propose a sales forecast based on history. There's a variety of different actions that we can perform. We'll get into some of these later, but we can set up cycle counts. We can set up special prices and discounts. We can look at item availability. We can look at the cost breakdown of the item. The item card is divided into different sections. So we have the main item section where we define broad information about the item, like its item number, its description, what type of item it is, what the unit of measure is, etc. We have an inventory card or section that shows us different inventory. What's our quantity on hand? What have we got on a purchase order? What have we got on sales orders today? We have an ability to define different costing and accounting data for the item. And we can also define a default sell price and our profit markup calculation, and we can also put the item into different discount groups and have a different sales unit of measure. We can block the item for sales. We can block the item in general for any purpose. We can block the item for purchasing. So there's a lot of different choices. We can define, and this gets into some of the manufacturing capabilities, how we make the item or how we buy it. So we either purchase it, produce it on a production order, transfer it from another facility, or assemble it. We can set up rules regarding all of this. We can have default vendor. We can have the purchasing system automatically suggest purchases for items that we buy. And when we do have it set for some form of manufacturing, like an assembly or a production order, we can define whether we want it to be make to stock or make to order. So here's another item. This is a chair. So this is an example of a purchased item where we purchase it from a vendor, and the vendor has their own item number. It's also an example of an item that has some attributes on it. So we've defined some attributes like color, depth, width, height, material description, model year, and these attributes are user definable, and you can create any number of attributes. They're searchable, and they're used to define something about the item that we want to be able to look at later. And in this item, and all items, we can, in addition to setting its replenishment system, we can also set up reordering policies, which are what drives the MRP module. Lot for lot reordering is the most traditional, where we're accumulating a quantity that we're going to be buying. But we'll get into this in a lot more detail. And we can also set up item tracking codes, which define whether or not the item has lot numbers or serial numbers for tracking. And we can set different characteristics up for that. And as you can see here, for Sabre, there are different user fields and production and ETO information that's defined. We also have the ability to set up different warehouse information, which we're going to cover off in a future segment. As you can see, there's a lot of features of items and inventory within Business Central. Our future episodes of the inventory virtual demo, we're going to cover off what those features are and get into more depth in all of them.
Thank you for watching this video. Please follow our channel by clicking here, or click here for the next great video. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.